Hey guys, what is up? It is your friendly neighborhood Ubergoose here, back again with the third and hopefully final part of the Grand Tournament card review. This episode we're going to be covering Warrior and Neutral cards. So, firstly, the first card we see here, of course, is the Warrior Legendary for the set, which is Varian Rin, who is very powerful. 10 mana, 7/7, Battle Cry, draw 3 cards. Put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield. It's supposed to be onto. Maybe into. I don't know. Wording on card is just not... It's not a thing that Blizzard seemingly cares about. The wordings being, descriptive in any fashion. So, whatever. Very, very, very powerful effect. I mean, this goes straight into Wallet Warrior, which is Control Warrior that just plays a shitload of legendaries. Like, I think the normal one plays like 6 legendaries, I want to say. Like Harrison, Sylvanas, Boom, Geddon, Alex. Some play Ysera, Grommash. Lots of legendaries that they just slap into the deck. And he slots right in, right? Just right in. And, I mean, obviously, everybody thinks of Varian Rin as like, oh, well, like, you have this RNG of if you're going to draw minions, and then, if you get, like, 3 legendaries, then you just win or whatever, but you don't get the battle cries, so it kind of sucks. But you're drawing 3. Like, he's drawing, it's a lay on hands for more mana, in fairness, but you get a 7/7 body instead of gaining 8 life. And you have potential to get even more out of it. The card's nuts. I mean, it's not like you're not drawing the 3 cards. It's not like reveal the top 3, if they're minions, put them on the battlefield. It's literally draw 3. And if they are minions, you get to play them completely for free on the same turn that you play this 7/7. So, he's very good. The 7/7, though, is kind of also a negative aspect because he dies to BGH, but I think that kind of has to be the case. Otherwise, he'd be a little imbalanced. If he was like a 6/7 or something, it's like, oh god, this is busted. But I think he's insane. I think he just fits right into the deck that already exists. A deck that already exists and is a very large percentage of the metagame and performing incredibly well. So it's kind of spooky, but a lot of other classes are getting a bunch of tools as well, so we'll see how it works out in the long run. But next card we have is Sea Reaver, 6 mana, 6/7. When you draw this, deal 1 damage to your minions. It's really bad. There's a reason people don't play Flame Leviathan, and it is not because it does 2 damage to all characters. It is because you can't control it. It is a completely unreliable thing that just happens sometimes and could fuck you, right? Sea Reaver's the same way. The main difference is that being not a legendary, you can make it a bit more consistent, but the timing that you want to whirlwind your guys is never, ever at the start of your turn. Ever, right? Like, I'm not saying the situation will never come up, I guess, but what I am saying is that you don't want it. You don't want that situation to come up. If the situation does come up where you want a whirlwind on just your guys at the beginning of your turn, and then you get a Boulderfist Ogre that you can just play, it's so bad. It doesn't do enough. If you're Patron, which is obviously the deck that most people are assuming this card was aimed at, if you're playing Patron and you still have patrons on the following turn that you could whirlwind, you probably already won the game. Or if your frothing survives a turn, you probably already won. Like, you don't need to be playing a Boulderfist Ogre in your deck to make it, to make you win more. So it's just a really, really bad card. Next card is Magnetar Alpha, 4 mana, 5/3. Also damages the minions next to whomever he attacks. It's pretty bad. The main issue that crops up with it is you're spending 4 mana for 3 health, which only works if you're piloted Shredder. And the reason it works with Shredder is because if they trade their 2-drop into it, right? The average 2-drop that people are playing has 3 power or 3 attack. So they get to, or 2 or 3, I guess. Has 3 or more attack. They just trade, right? The reason Shredder is so relevant is that it has 3 health, but if they trade, then you still get something, right? If they trade their 2-drop into Shredder, you still have a 2-drop, right? So Magnetar Alpha gets nothing, right? If you play them on turn 4, and then they trade, that's all that happened. They traded. There's no battle cry, there's no stickiness, and the worst part about it is that it's not just to whomever he damages, it's to whoever he attacks, right? If it just said whenever he deals damage, it also deals to adjacent minions. When he deals damage to a minion, it deals to adjacent minions. That would be a legitimate card, right? I would try to make it work. But as it is, he needs to attack, which means he needs to survive a turn. And even then, he's probably trading for 1 guy, maybe 2, but your opponent's probably going to figure out a way to make it so you don't get any of the cleave off of it, right? Like, Foe Reaper's good because it's got a huge butt, so it can attack it multiple times. I mean, Foe Reaper's not even good is the problem, right? But it's way better than this card, I'll tell you that much. But anyway, next card is King's Defender. 3 mana, 3/2 weapon, Battlecry. If you have a minion with Taunt, it is a 3/3 weapon. No. Just play Fiery War Axe. I mean, 3 mana for a 3/3 weapon's not really relevant. Like, you're paying 1 extra mana for a Fiery War Axe that if you meet an arbitrary requirement, then it's a very slightly better Fiery War Axe, which is not relevant, honestly, ever. Like, the reason War Axe is so good is because you play it on turn 2 or on turn 1 with a coin, not because it's a 3 attack weapon. I mean, the 3 attack is relevant, but it's not, if Fiery War Axe cost 3 mana, people would probably still play it because it's still probably it's the cheapest, warrior weapon, but it's just not nearly as good. The 2 mana is why Fiery War Axe is so good, and King's Defender just clearly is bad because of the mana cost. So, and they're really just trying to push the whole taunt thing. If this card read what it initially read in the first translation, where for each minion you have with taunt, it gets +1 durability, sign me up. That's way cooler. That's such a cooler effect. That means you could have like a 3/5 weapon, which, although good, can also be bad because, Harrison Jones is a card that exists. So, I don't know. Hard to say, but that definitely would have been better than this iteration, like, objectively. So, yeah. That's King's Defender. That's my thoughts on it. I don't think it'll see play in anything. The only time I could imagine it seeing play is as a 5th weapon. You just put 1 copy in to your weapon-heavy, like, mid-range warrior deck that doesn't exist. Next card, though, Sparring Partner, 2 mana, 3/2. Taunt, Battlecry, give a minion Taunt. Super high value, super cool. Has a lot of play to it. A lot, right? The first thought people have with this card is like, I'm putting 2 taunts on the board. One is a 3/2, one's, whatever else I played. But people are forgetting the fact that it just says give a minion, not a minion you control. So you can give it to an opposing minion to Black Knight kill them, which I find kind of funny and kind of flavor failish that you could play Sparring Partner giving the Skeleton Knight taunt and then play Black Knight, who is the Skeleton Knight, but before he died 48 times, to kill the Skeleton Knight. It's very weird, but Anyway, so you can combo it with Black Knight. You can also just play it if they have a Sludge Belcher and they're hiding something behind it. You can play it and target the other thing and then attack your guys into the other thing instead of the Belcher, right? So a lot of play to this card. 2 mana 3/2 taunt is already really, really solid, I think. And the battle cry is just it's gravy. There you go. That's the way. All right. Next card is Alexstrasza's Champion. 2 mana 2/3. Battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and charge. This card's bonkers and is going to see a shitload of play. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? Here we go. There are control warrior decks, right, that want to be playing like another Fiery War Axe, specifically a 2 mana thing that deals with minions, right? Some play Slam, which is really awkward. You don't really want to, like, you know, play Slam to kill like a Knife Juggler or something. The control warrior decks already not infrequently play, you know, 3 dragons, right? Ysera, Alex, and sometimes they'll throw in Nefarian, right? Like, that's not unusual. And you could easily shift your control warrior deck into a dragon theme and slap this 2 mana 3/3 charge into it, right? 2 mana 3/3 charge is so big. It's so big. Like, it deals with everything. First of all, it deals with, like, literally everything that's a 1-drop. Aside from the awkwardness with Flame Imp, of course. But, you know, 1-drops just get killed, and then it can trade for another thing, right? Obviously, it's less exciting when you just play it as, you know, 2 mana charge, 2 mana 3/3 charge, trade into a Knife Juggler. That's way less exciting, but people were playing Slam to do that exact thing anyway, right? That was the situation where Slam would be used anyway, so I think it's fine. I think this card is going to honestly be played a lot more than people expect, for sure. Next card, Bash, 3 mana spell, deal 3 damage, gain 3 armor. Whatever. It's not exciting. It'll be fine in Arena, and it really, I can't imagine, will do anything in Constructed ever. So, whatever. Next card, Orgrimmar Aspirant, 3 mana 3/3. Inspire, give your weapon +1 attack. Now, this is a really cool effect. Really, really cool effect. I don't know if it's good, but it's really cool. It's so weird, though, right? Because, well, okay, so what you could do is on turn 4, you could Deathspite. You could attack the Deathspite, kill a guy, right? Then they play a bigger guy, right? Like, they play an X6. Like, they play, I don't know, a Twilight Drake that has 6 health. And then you play Orgrimmar Aspirant. You then armor up, and now you have a 5 attack Deathspite, which now kills the Drake because it does 5 and then Whirlwinds for the 1, right? So, like, that's a cool situation. And then the Aspirant kind of has to be dealt with because then future weapons, right? Because this happened on turn 5. On turn 6, you can immediately Deathspite hero power, and then it's immediately a 5 weapon, right? So it has to be dealt with. So it's really cool. I don't know if 3 mana 3/3 makes it, I mean, it does make it worse, right? But I don't know if it's too bad. It's hard to say. I think if this card's not going to see play, it's because either the +1 attack on your weapon is not as relevant as I'm expecting, or 3/3 is just too small for 3 mana at that point. So we'll see on that one. But final warrior card, Bolster, 2 mana spell, give your taunt minions +2/+2. It's just cute. I don't think it's going to be good. I think it's cute, though. Obviously, it combos super well with Sparring Partner. And we'll get to him later, but turn him into 10D and stuff like that. It obviously has cool, cute little combos. But I don't think it's really relevant. I don't think the card will do anything. I mean, best case scenario, it is 2 mana, give, you know, like 3 minions +2/+2, which is really good. And then worst case scenario is it literally does nothing, and it's an entire blank, right? So, And +2/+2 on your whole board isn't that relevant, except for the turn that you do it. And in fairness, that can be incredibly relevant. You know, the turn you do it and swing out, and it can be pretty huge. But, I mean, I don't know. I think spending a card on this effect might not be good enough is my main concern. And now we are finally to neutral, of which there's a shitload of cards. So we're going to try and abbreviate this more than the class cards, because I think the class cards are definitely the most interesting. Neutral cards, Ice Howl, 9 out of 10 charge, can't attack heroes. Really cool. Recurable minion killer, neat effect. Hasn't been seen before. Probably can get used in the future. They could make like a 2-mana 4/4 can't attack heroes sort of thing, right? Like they could do stuff like that. That'd be cool. So control decks would have more tools, like because in order for control to be relevant, I know I said I'd abbreviate this, and I'm immediately lying, but in order for a control deck to want certain minions, it has to be high stat line for the cost, but not relevant to aggro's interests. For example, Zombie Chow, right? Chow is great because 1-mana 2/3 is really, really good, but the downside makes it so aggro would never play it, right? So it's cool that they added this ability where it can't attack heroes, so they could throw that on later guys to have, you know, blown up stat lines. Just don't let them hit heroes, which you can silence this and it can hit the hero, which is really cool as well. So it's flexible. Next card, Sky Cap'n Crag, 7-mana 4/6 charge. Costs 1 less for each friendly pirate. Is a pirate himself. Yeah, he's fine. He's not going to see a lot of play, I don't think. When he got first spoiled, which was in the absolute first bundle of spoilers, people were like, well, if there's enough pirates, I could see it. But there's not enough pirates, so he's really not going to see any play, which is unfortunate because he's got a great ability of charge. Chillmaw, 7-mana 6/6 taunt. Death Rattle, if you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. Cool effect. It's a counter to Patron Warrior. A lot of people aren't quite seeing how it's a counter to Patron Warrior. They're just like, well, they'll just kill you with a frothing. But the issue is, in order for their frothing to be big, they have to whirlwind, making the frothing have 3 health, making it die to this effect. So I think this card's great. I think it should probably slot into most decks that are playing dragons, and I think we'll be seeing a bunch more dragon decks. So there you go. Obviously, it can also be a more, I don't know, it can be like a bluff sort of play, right? You can just play him as a 7-mana 6/6 taunt, and then your opponent, you know, is playing in such a way that they play around the Death Rattle, but you don't even have a dragon. So, cool card, love it. Next card, Justicar Trueheart, 6-mana 6/3 Battlecry. Replace your starting hero power with a better one. I don't have the thing up with all the hero powers, so pretty much all of them are doubled. Shaman gets to choose their totem. Hunter just gets 3 damage rather than 4. I think every other one is doubled. Or no, I guess Warlock is not draw 2 cards. It's draw 1, but you don't lose life. But everything else is doubled. Really cool card. I think it's going to see a shitload of play. Mostly in Warriors, Paladins, Paladins, and maybe Priests. The reason I'm thinking Priests is because 4 life a turn is huge. The Skeleton Knight, it's the Black Knight, but he died a lot in daily quests, so now he's a skeleton. 6-mana 7/4 Death Rattle, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, return this to your hand. It's not good. It's just not good. If you lose the Joust, it was just a 6-mana card that trades with Shredder, which is shit. So, fuck that guy. Wolfram Shield, 6-mana 3/9. Whenever your hero takes damage, this minion takes it instead. Really cool, especially with weapons. I love it. I don't know if he's going to see play. 6 mana is pretty steep, but the effect is very powerful, potentially. The only downside is, the first thought is like, you know, oh, this is like a counter to aggro or whatever, but aggro doesn't have to deal with the 3 attack. They just hit your face, slowly killing both. So, it's not really. I mean, it gains 9. You know, it's a 6-mana gain 9, which isn't bad. It's not great. He's like an antique healbot. 1 more mana for 1 more life, right? I mean, he's whatever. Both is fine. Nexus Champion Sarad, 5 mana, 4/5. Inspire, add a random spell to your hand. I don't think he's good enough. I just think he's a bit too slow and clunky, and the randomness really makes it not good. You know, if you hold off to turn 7 to play this in Hero Power, then play it Hero Power, you get Totemic Might, and then you just lose, right? Then you just spent your turn 7 Hero Powering and playing a 4/5, right? So, you know, there's a lot of swinginess to him, and I don't think he's quite good enough, unfortunately. Gormok the Impaler, 4 mana, 4/4. Battlecry, if you have at least 4 other minions, deal 4 damage. That's a lot of 4s. Super flavorful, firstly, because Gormok the Impaler was a neat boss in one of the TOC things. I always mix up which ones were in the dungeon or raid. I think this guy was raid. I believe Gormok was in the raid, but really cool, really cool. I think this guy's really powerful too. You can easily have 4 minions on the table by turn 4 if you build your deck around it. And then even if you don't, you can play him later, and he's still, like, really good, right? Like, people play Blackwing Corruptor, which is a 5 mana, 5/4. Battlecry deals 3 damage if you're holding a dragon, right? This guy's, like, just so good. Like, if you compare it to that, they're very equal in a lot of ways. Gormok does 1 extra damage. He's 1 less mana, 1 less attack, but has a completely different requirement. But I think he's great. I really think Gormok is really good. Adis Darkbane and Fiola Lightbane, both spider tanks without the mech. Darkbane deals 3 damage to a random enemy when she gets targeted by your spells, while Fiola Lightbane gives a divine shield to herself when you target her with spells. I think they're both great. Very cool. I think you definitely can just make a self-buff paladin deck and just hurl both these in there. It's hard to deal with the 3/4 on turn 3, so you can play either of them just immediately on turn 3, and they probably will survive. And then if they survive to turn 4, then you Blessing of Kings them, and then you just win the game immediately. So they're both really cool. I'd say play them both. If you're going to play either, play both, in my opinion. I do think Darkbane's is a bit more ubiquitous, while Lightbane's is a bit stronger, if that makes sense. Like, Lightbane's is better in situations where Divine Shield is good, but there are situations where it's not particularly relevant, thus Darkbane's is better. Right? Darkbane's is always at like a medium power level, while Lightbane's is like a little bit of a roller coaster, I guess, if that makes sense. Alright, Legendary's done. Next card is Frost Giant. 10 mana, 8/8, costs 1 less for each time you use your hero power this game. I think this card's really cool. Compared to the other giants, it is probably... So the other giants is probably best is Molten, then Mountain, and then I put Frost at a close third. And then I'd put Sea Giant below him, but very close, I think. And then Clockwork Giant's like, you know, jerking off in the corner somewhere or something. He's pretty cool. I don't know exactly what deck you want to put Frost Giant in, but the thing is, if you're putting him in a deck focused on hero powers, he's insane. So I like it a lot. He's just another 8/8. If you're hand lock, you might play him. I don't know. I'd say you play him if you want a 5th or 6th giant in your list, but not because he's better than Molten or Mountain. So, next card, Kodo Rider, 6 mana, 3/5, Inspire, summon a 3/5 War Kodo. Just not good enough, too slow. 6 mana is a lot to pay for a 3/5 body that doesn't even do anything immediately, and then if you're paying 8 mana to get, 6/10 stats, one with a soft taunt, that's a lot better, but it's still really not that good. I personally wouldn't pay 8 mana for 6/10 stats. But yeah, I think Kodo Rider's just a little bit too slow. I think if it costs 5, it would see some amount of play, but at 6, it's way too slow for the effect that it does. And the 3/5 War Kodos are literally just 3/5s. There's nothing special about them. I don't think they might be beasts, but I don't think so. I don't remember. This card is in one of the Joust or one of the Tavern Brawl decks, so I should know more about it, but I don't. Anyway, Grand Crusader, 6 mana, 5/5, Battlecry, add a random Paladin card to your hand. This is a neutral card. Pretty cool. Good, probably not. Again, 6 mana, 5/5, like, it's a little bit overcosted. A lot of the neutral cards in this set are just overcosted, really. And Grand Crusader's no different. The effect can be very powerful if he gives you a Consecration or, like, a Lay on Hands, or, I don't know, like a Tyrion or something. Like, obviously there's a lot of flashy spells in Paladin, but if he gives you, like, a Blessing of Wisdom, then it's not good at all. It's not that Blessing of Wisdom is a shit card, it's just that you really don't want to be spending 6 mana for a 5/5, draw a Blessing of Wisdom, right? That's not really good. Next card, Sideshow Spell Eater, 6 mana, 6/5, Battlecry, copy your opponent's hero power. This is just kind of like a failsafe. Like, the card's not good. But it's kind of like a... what do you call it? Not like a failsafe. Well, I guess a failsafe, but it's like a valve. What are those things? Whatever. If hero powers get to a point where they're too good ever in the future, you know, maybe in this set, if Justicar Trueheart becomes, like, oppressive or anything, then this card can rise in popularity and become the, quote, counter, right? Because then you get to copy the brokenness. So I think it's a cool idea. It doesn't work in PvE. They have confirmed this, and it sucks, but whatever. And I think it's just bad overall. I do think, like I said, though, if Inspire decks, you know, if hero power based decks become super broken, then this card will see play. It's just, I don't think that'll happen with this set. Recruiter, 5 mana, 5/4. Inspire, add a 2/2 Squire to your hand. They're 1 mana, 2/2 Squires. And again, too slow. Like, all these cards, this top row here, aside from Frost Giant. I mean, even Frost Giant might be too expensive. Like, they're just too much. Too much mana for their effect. Just too much. So, you know, continuing with the huge just parade of really underpowered epics, we have 4 more here. So Twilight Guardian, 4 mana, 2/6, Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and taunt, and it's a dragon itself, so it can be a 1 mana cheaper Fen Creeper. 1 mana cheaper Fen Creeper. Sorry. That is also a dragon, which is relevant. I don't know if it's good, though. I think it is good if the dragon deck is good. If the dragon deck is a little bit on the weak side, it's probably one of the first cards that is not in from this set. 1 mana cheaper Fen Creeper is not bad, though. Definitely is not bad. But if you can't trigger the Battlecry, like if you're not holding a dragon, 4 mana 2/6 is not good. So, hard to say. Crowd favorite, 4 mana 4/4. Whenever you play a card with Battlecry, gain +1/+1. It's just a bad questing adventurer, and it will see no play anywhere ever. Master of Ceremonies, 3 mana 4/2, Battlecry. If you have a minion with spell damage, gain +2/+2. So, can be a 3 mana 6/4. That's pretty good. If you're curving, you know, Blood Mage Thalnos, or even Kobold, which is a card everybody loves to shit on, but I think it's fine. If you're curving that into this, you're in a really good spot, probably, because on the 4th turn, you can probably play 2 spells that can utilize the spell damage to clear the way for your 6/4 to attack their head. So, the problem is, again, with all of these cards, you have to look at them both in their best case and worst case scenario and kind of assess them, you know, on the spectrum of, you know, the range that their ability can have. And the worst case scenario is this is a 3 mana 4/2, and that's pretty damn bad. It's the same stats as Magma Rager. It's just 1 attack has been shifted to health, so it's pretty bad. Garrison Commander, 2 mana, 2/3. You can use your hero power twice a turn. He's fine. Good for arena. Probably not good for constructed. He looks like another Steam Weedle sniper. Just like a really cool concept. Really cool concept. With definitely a good effect. It's just, it doesn't really fit the constructed metagame, right? It just doesn't work in it. Probably best in... God, I don't know. What would it be best in? I guess Hunter, right? Just hitting for 4 from your hero power on a turn. But Hunter doesn't want to be playing 2 mana 2/3s, which is why Steam Weedle Sniper sucks. So, yeah, probably won't see play. Mogor's Champion is probably the worst card of the set, so we're going to ignore it. Yeah, probably worse than Dreadsteed. Probably. Master Jouster, 6 mana 5/6, Battlecry. You joust. If you win, taunt Divine Shield. So if you win, it's a Sunwalker +1/+1. If you lose, it's a Boulderfist Ogre -1/-1. It's okay. The art's great. It's done by some person at Penny Arcade, and I'm blanking on their name, and I feel bad about it. But great art, cool effect. Probably not going to see constructed play. Probably a gigantic bomb in arena though, just like Sunwalker is. Armored Warhorse, 4 mana 5/3, Battlecry. You joust. If you win, charge. It's also a beast. Make it 3 mana. Yeah, I know 3 mana 5/3 charge is too good. I know, but 4 mana is too much. It's just too much for this. Like, you don't want to be spending 4 mana on your 3 health minions. Like, this is a recurring thing, right? And if you are spending 4 mana on your 3 health minions, you want it to have a real immediate effect, not just, charge. You want it to have, like, a real battle cry, like I don't know, a way to draw cards or do something, like, whatever, or just be sticky, like Shredder. And this is neither, so I don't think it's good enough. Next card, Light's Champion. 3 mana 4/3, Battlecry, silence the demon. Yeah, again, it's more of just like a nice little safety precaution. If demons get too good, you can deal with them. So I like Silver Bullets. I would like them a lot better if there were sideboarding in the game, but without sideboarding in Hearthstone as it currently stands, Silver Bullets are very much just kind of a random thing, right? If you're on ladder and then you see a shitload of demons and you're like, okay, let me change my deck, and then you put Light's Champion in to deal with them, and then you just never face a deck with demons again because you're just facing a different side of the ladder, then it's just really stupid, I think. But I do like the idea of there being silver bullet answers. And this isn't even a silver bullet. It's not like silence the demon and destroy it. It's just like, hey, Void Collar? Yeah, Void Collar. Hey, shut the fuck up. No Mal'Ganis for you. Like, that's cool. But I don't think it'll see a lot of play, unfortunately. Saboteur, 3 mana 4/3, Battlecry. Your opponent's hero power costs 5 more next turn. Again, if hero powers get to a point where they're really powerful, Saboteur will see play. If they don't, then he probably won't. So that's pretty much that card in a nutshell. Colosseum Manager, 3 mana 2/5, Inspire. Return this minion to your hand. It's really, really bad. Really bad. Just bad. Fencing Coach. I'm not really going to elaborate. Like, it's fairly self-explanatory. You don't want to be punished for using your hero power by playing a 3 mana 2/5. Fencing Coach, 3 mana 2/2, Battlecry. The next time you use your hero power, it costs 2 less. That's good. This is the card that will make Inspire cards better, because you play this guy on turn 3 and you have a 0 mana hero power just saved. You have it ready to cash in, right? You then play on turn 6 Kodo Rider and use it, right? You play on curve Kodo Rider and get the benefit out of it, right? That would make Kodo Rider way better. So it's very interesting. I definitely think it'll see play. I don't know where, and I don't know exactly in what fashion, but I think it'll definitely see some amount of play. Argent Watchman, 2 mana, 2/4, can't attack, inspire, can attack as normal this turn. It's bad. It's like a zombie chow, except it requires an upkeep. Like, this card is 4 mana, 2/4 if you attack with it once, right? It's not that explicit because you are getting the hero power benefit and stuff like that, but it's just not good. It's just not good. That's all it is. If you're paying the amount of mana that it costs to play the card in order to just get the card to do anything, then it's bad. Obviously, you can silence it. Obviously, you can taunt it up, like Ancient Watcher and stuff like that. But why not just play Ancient Watcher? Because it's a 4/5 for the same mana cost. I don't get it. Injured Kvaldir, 1 mana, 2/4, Battlecry, deal 3 damage to this minion. Yeah, if he was a 2/5 and dealt 4 damage to himself, he'd probably be too good. Because you could turn 1 Injured Kvaldir, turn 2 Lighter Than Naru, and, you know, just kind of win, right? But, I don't know, it's just not great. It has a similar issue to Argent Watchman. Like, there are cards for, compared to Watchman and Kvaldir, there are cards that are, like, the same but better that already exist. Like, for Injured Kvaldir, it would be Zombie Chow. Argent Watchman would be Ancient Watcher. Like, they're both not meant for aggro decks, clearly. But the non-aggro decks already have tools at the same mana cost that do similar things but better. So I just don't see either of them seeing play. North Sea Kraken, 9 mana, 9/7, Battlecry, deal 4 damage. It's good for free-to-play players, which is cool. Also new players, which is really cool. It's finally a big, fat monster that they can play. Is it good? Probably not. Captured Jormungandr, 7 mana, 5/9, Beast. Vanilla, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's a reversed Core Hound, which is better than Core Hound. It's just not, you know, vanilla. You can't really get excited about vanilla cards unless, that's the one. Unless it's Pit Fighter, which we'll get to. Clockwork Knight, 5 mana, 5/5, Battlecry, give a friendly mech +1/+1. Well, if people didn't play, what is it, Metal Tooth Leaper or whatever? Or Leopard? Is it Leopard? Whatever. The Metal Tooth Hunter card, or Screwjank Clunker, or, you know, all those other really, really, really bad, clunky mech cards that cost too much mana for the effect they give, and only have effect if you have another mech. Those cards don't see play, so this won't. Simple as that. And you're paying 5 mana for 6/6 of stats, which is really not that good. Muklas Champion, 5 mana, 4/3, Inspire, give your other minions +1/+1. Really cool effect. Very powerful. It's just a little bit expensive. Although, I can definitely see a world where if you have, like, you're a Paladin deck. Turn 1, you're playing Leper Gnome, right? Turn 2, you're playing Knife Juggler. Turn 3, you're playing Muster for battle, right? Turn 4, you're playing Fencing Coach, plus a 1-drop if you have it. And then turn 5, you're playing Muklas Champion Hero Power. And then you have a gigantic board that's just terrifying and impossible to deal with, right? I can see that situation arising, but 5 mana 4/3 is bad. It's really bad. So, yeah, probably not. Pit Fighter, 5 mana 5/6. Why this is exciting? 5 mana is okay. All right. Yeti is great at 4 mana 4/5. Boulder Fist Ogre is not quite good enough at 6 mana 6/7, but I think Pit Fighter is good at 5 mana 5/6 because it kills Yetis, it kills legendaries, like it kills Sylvanas and survives, which obviously you don't really want it to, but you can make Sylvanas steal a 5/1, I guess, so not the end of the world. It kills Thaurissan. It kills Harrison. I mean, it kills a shitload of the mid-game legendaries and lives to, you know, fight another day. So 5 mana 5/6 is a really nice breaking point. It really, really is. I don't think it's going to see constructed play, but it honestly might. It honestly might. I don't really know. Definitely the most exciting vanilla card that I've seen ever, so that's cool. Cavaldier Raider, 5 mana, 4/4, Inspire, gain +2/+2. It's just floating Watcher, but I mean, it's for anybody, I guess, so whatever. It's not great. Frigid Snowball's really bad. 4 mana, 2/6, spell damage +1. If it says spell damage +2, good card. 4 mana for 2/6 stats, not really exciting. I mean, it's 8 stats, right? But and it is like, you know, the good 8 stats. It's 2/6, right? Which, I mean, we'll get to Maiden of the Lake in a minute. I know I shit talked to 4 mana 2/6 a little bit ago. I don't remember what the card was, but I don't know. The stats are so weird. It needs like an actual effect to go along with it, and spell damage +1's not enough of an effect to make the 4 mana 2/6 relevant, I think. Maiden of the Lake, 4 mana 2/6. Your hero power costs 1, not 1 less, 1. So it's fine. I played a little bit with this card in the Tavern Brawl, and it seemed pretty good, but I don't think it'll see any constructed play personally. Refreshment Vendor, 4 mana 3/5, restore 4 health to each hero. Great card. 4 mana 3/5, good stats. I mean, I know it's 8 stats again, but I think 3/5 is a little bit better than 2/6. The Battle Cry is really relevant to control decks where they don't give a shit if the opponent gains 4 life, but they just really want to get the health themselves. So I think it'll see play to some extent. I mean, it's 1 cheaper than Healbot, 2 more stats, half the healing, which I don't know. Is that better? Maybe. Tournament Medic, 4 mana, 1/8, huge stats. Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. He's okay. You need to hero power for him to do anything, so he's just not as good as Refreshment Vendor. Evil Heckler, 4 mana, 5/4, Taunt. I'm speeding up because I noticed we're 40 minutes in. 5/4 Taunt, yeah, it's okay. It's a strictly better Booty Bay Bodyguard that is not power creep. Don't try and claim it's power creep just because they made a strictly better card. That is not power creep. Dragonhawk Rider, 3 mana, 3/3, Inspire, gain Wind Fury this turn. It's just not good. I mean, it's just not. Like, it requires more mana to be relevant at all, and then a 3 mana, 3/3 Wind Fury is not even good enough, so whatever. Ice Rager, hey, look, another thing. Not power creep, whatever, moving on. Argent Horse Rider, 3 mana, 2/1, charge Divine Shield. It's pretty good. It's literally half an Argent Commander. Is that what he's called? Literally a half of him. You know, half the mana cost, half the attack, half the health. Same, you know, charge Divine Shield. Very good combination of abilities. I think this card's really good. It trades for, you know, 2 2-drops, or like a 2 and a 3. Or, well, probably not a 2 and a 3. Not a lot of 3s have 2 health, but, you know, it trades for 2 2-drops, which is pretty good. Or a 2-drop and a spell. But it'll always trade the shield for something relevant, which is really good. Silent Knight, 3 mana, 2/2, Stealth Divine Shield. Not nearly as good. Stealth Divine Shield is kind of like Charge Divine Shield, except that it is completely irrelevant. So that's cool. I mean, like, you know, the Divine Shield will be used up on the turn he attacks. You know, it's not like it'll get eaten before. With Charge, it's on the turn you play him. With Stealth, it's on the turn after. The turn after, they can easily set up. The turn prior, you know, it's not. Whatever. They don't really have the time to set up for it. So, Silverhand Regent, 3 mana, 3/3, Inspire, summon a 1/1 Silverhand Recruit. So your hero power, if you are not Paladin, turns into whatever it is plus Paladin. It's cool. Again, honestly, pretty much every Inspire card, the difficulty with them is that you need to, like, they need to do something, right? All of them do something later with more resources invested. And not a lot of them are powerful enough, and I think this one is similar. It's just not quite powerful enough. And that's really the main issue. Lance Carrier, 2 mana, 1/2, Battle Cry, give a friendly minion +2 attack. If he was 1 mana, I'd love it. I know it's permanent attack, and he would basically just be a better abusive sergeant, but He's just not really good. 2 mana is not. I mean, it's 2 mana for 3/2 stats, right? But I don't know. It's just not good enough. I don't think. I just don't think it's good enough. Bone Guard Lieutenant. Oh, we're done. Okay, cool. Bone Guard Lieutenant. 2 mana, 3/2 Inspire, gain a health. Sure, he's fine. I played a little bit with him in Tavern Brawl, and he seemed pretty good. As 2 mana, 3/2 is normally a fairly reasonable, stat line. The fact that he gets bigger than that is really cool. The main downside is that because 3/2 is a common stat line, they will have another 3/2, so it'll take 2 turns for this guy to escape them, and 2 turns later, they'll have bigger guys that can kill him. So he's just, if he started as a 2 mana 3/3 with Inspire, gain a health, I know he'd be, you'd call me crazy for imagining that card, but I think that's really what he would need to be in order to be playable. As it is now, he's just a little bit too slow on the health gain, so probably will not see play. Flame Juggler, 2 mana, 2/3, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. It's really bad. Just a very bad Knife Juggler. 2/3 is the I guess, it's the same amount of stats, right, as a 3/2 for 2 mana, but 2/3 is generally worse than 3/2. And the battle cry is really bad. Just let us target the 1 damage, and maybe he'd be fine, but he probably would still be shit. So there's that. Tournament attendee, 1 mana, 2/1 taunt. I think he's great. I think having a taunt on the 1-drop, I think he's definitely better than Goldshire Footman, personally. Most people are saying, well, there's, how many classes are there that just kill him? 1, 2, 3. Is it just 3? 3 classes have pings? Yeah. So, I mean, there's 3 classes that blank him entirely, right? But it does take their turn to, which is not irrelevant if you build your deck right. So I think he's pretty good. And then obviously he can, if your opponent has no 1-drop, which is not uncommon, and then you're going second and you play this guy, then their second turn, they have to choose between, if they play Knife Juggler, you just trade, so they can't do that, so they have to hero power, and if they're not one of the ping heroes, then this card just completely blanks their play, right? It most of the time will blank their 2-drop. So I think he's good. Constructed viable, probably not, but he definitely could be if there's a shift towards, if there's a dramatic shift towards hunters and stuff like that. Like Hunters and Warriors, which there could be. I think Hunters and Warriors might be the 2 best classes from this set, or the 2 classes with the best cards from the set. So if there's a big shift like that, then I think it could definitely be viable, but we'll see. Gadgets and Jouster, 1 mana, 1/2. Reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain +1/+1. Again, it's just a bad zombie chow. Sorry, goodbye. You're just not good enough. Lily Squire, 1 mana, 1/2. Inspire, gain +1 attack. Very cool card. Very neat idea. Unfortunately, the Inspire generally takes up your entire turn in the early turns, which is when you want to be growing this guy the most. You don't really want to wait until late game to grow your 1/2. And throwing away your entire turn to hero power and give this guy 1 attack is probably not good enough. Definitely legitimate in Arena, though, I think. As it is, I mean, there's Micro Machine in Arena, which is a very, very similar card, and people tend to play that card a bit. So we'll see how it boils down, but pretty much a definite no for Constructed, I think. And that's it. We did it. Holy shit, we made it through. Oh god, every single one of these parts was 50 minutes as well. Holy shit. My voice is dead. I am dead. I'm gonna fucking go eat pizza and fall asleep, I think. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you blah. Yeah. Grand Tournament comes out in like 4 days. So I'll be doing a pack opening that will hopefully go up on release day of the Grand Tournament. We'll see how that boils down, and hopefully you enjoyed these 3 parts. And if you did, please be sure to leave a like. subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll see you in the next episode of something. I was going to say video, and then I said episode, and that would imply that there's another episode of this specific thing. Anyway, whatever. See ya. Bye.